Make everyone value you by mastering these 10 silent actions. There's a strange truth most people never realize. The more you chase respect, the faster it slips through your fingers. The more you try to prove your worth, the less people seem to see it. But then there are those rare individuals. They walk into a room quietly, and somehow everyone notices. They don't beg for attention. They don't explain themselves. Yet people listen when they speak, respect them without question, and value them without being asked. So what do they know that most people don't? In this video, you're about to discover 10 silent actions rooted in Stoic wisdom that will make people value you deeply without you ever having to say a word. And if you're someone who wants to build real presence, real respect, and a powerful identity, make sure you stay till the end, and don't forget to subscribe to Unshaken Mind for more content that sharpens your mindset and transforms your life. 1. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. Most people don't even realize how much they weaken themselves just by talking too much about their own life. You make a decision, and immediately you feel the need to explain it. You choose a different path, and suddenly you're defending it. Why? Because deep down, you're hoping people will understand you, agree with you, validate you. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The moment you start explaining yourself to people who never asked, you lower your own authority. A Stoic understands something most people don't. Not everyone is entitled to your story. Some people don't care. Some people will misunderstand you anyway, and some people will use your explanations as a way to judge you. So instead of talking, you move. Instead of explaining, you act. And when people ask, "Why did you do that?" you simply smile and keep going. That silence creates mystery, and mystery creates value. 2. Master the art of calmness. There's a kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't argue, doesn't react. It just remains. Imagine this. Someone disrespects you in public. Everyone is watching. They expect a reaction, a raised voice, anger, ego. But instead, you stay calm. Not weak, not passive, just controlled. That moment, it changes how people see you forever. Because calmness in chaos is not normal. And anything that's not normal becomes powerful. Most people are slaves to their emotions. They react instantly. They speak without thinking. They burn bridges in seconds. But a Stoic pauses. He lets the emotion rise, but doesn't let it take control. And in that pause, he chooses strength. That's the kind of energy that makes people step carefully around you, not because they fear you, but because they respect you. 3. Speak less, but say more. Silence has a language, and most people don't understand it. They think being heard means talking more. But real influence doesn't come from volume. It comes from weight. Think about the people you respect most. They don't talk all the time. They don't fill every silence. But when they speak, everyone listens. Why? Because they've trained people to pay attention. Every word they say carries intention. There's no rambling, no unnecessary noise, just clarity. A Stoic observes more than he speaks. He studies people. He reads energy. He listens to what is said and what is not said. So when he finally speaks, his words land differently. They don't just pass through people. They stay. And that's what creates presence. 4. Detach from the need for approval. This one right here changes everything. Because most people are not living their lives. They're performing. They dress a certain way for approval. They speak a certain way for approval. They stay in situations they've outgrown just to be accepted. And slowly, without realizing it, they lose themselves. But a Stoic does something different. He steps back and asks, "Who am I without anyone watching?" And that question is uncomfortable, because it forces you to face the truth. But once you do, something shifts. You stop seeking permission to be yourself. You stop adjusting your personality to fit rooms you don't belong in. And the moment you detach from approval, you become dangerous in the best way. Because now, nobody can control you. And people always respect what they cannot control. 5. Control your emotions, especially in public. Your emotions are real. They matter. But not every emotion deserves an audience. One of the fastest ways people lose respect is by showing every feeling to everyone. Anger on display, frustration in public, desperation in conversations. It exposes too much. But emotional control? That creates intrigue. It makes people wonder, what is he thinking? What is he really feeling? And that curiosity builds respect. A Stoic doesn't suppress emotions. He processes them privately. He feels deeply, but expresses wisely. Because he understands this: power is not in what you feel, it's in what you choose to reveal. 6. Be comfortable walking away. This is where real self-worth shows itself. Because anyone can stay. Anyone can tolerate disrespect just to avoid being alone. But walking away? That takes strength. It means choosing yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it hurts, even when you care. Most people don't leave bad situations because they're afraid of losing something. But a Stoic sees it differently. He knows if staying costs him his peace, his dignity, his self-respect, then it's already too expensive. So he leaves. No drama, no long explanations, just gone. And that kind of energy, it leaves a mark. Because people remember the one who didn't beg to stay. 7. Build yourself quietly. We live in a world where everyone wants to show progress before they've made it. They announce goals. They post every step. They seek applause for effort. But a Stoic moves differently. He disappears for a while. While others are watching, he's working. While others are talking, he's improving. No noise, no validation, just discipline. And then one day, he reappears, stronger, sharper, different. And people ask, when did this happen? But the truth is, it happened in silence, and that's why it's respected. 8. Maintain strong boundaries. If you don't set boundaries, people will test you. Not always intentionally, but naturally. They'll take more of your time, more of your energy, more of your patience, until there's nothing left. And then they stop valuing you. Because what's always available is rarely appreciated. But boundaries change that. They send a message without words. My time matters. My energy matters. I matter. And the key is, you don't need to shout it. You don't need to argue. You simply act accordingly. You say no when necessary. You step back when needed. And over time, people adjust. Because they realize access to you is not guaranteed. It's earned. 9. Don't chase. Attract. Chasing creates imbalance. You give more attention than you receive, more effort than is returned, and slowly your value decreases in their eyes. Not because you're not worthy, but because you're too available, too eager, too easy to access. But when you shift your focus, when you invest in yourself, your growth, your purpose, everything changes. You stop looking outward and start building inward. And people notice, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you're no longer trying at all. That's attraction. It's silent, it's natural, and it's powerful. 10. Stay consistent, not loud. Flashy energy fades. People who rely on hype, motivation, bursts of effort, they shine for a moment, then disappear. But consistency, that builds something deeper. Respect that grows over time. Trust that becomes solid. A reputation that speaks before you even enter a room. A Stoic doesn't rely on mood. He relies on discipline. Even on days he doesn't feel like it, he shows up. Even when no one is watching, he stays committed. And over time, that quiet consistency becomes his identity. Not something he does, but who he is. Anyone can be impressive for a moment, but consistency, that's rare. Showing up every day, improving little by little, staying disciplined when no one is watching, that builds real value. Not noise, not hype. Real value. A Stoic doesn't need to prove themselves daily. They simply live in alignment with their principles. And over time, that consistency creates an aura of respect that cannot be ignored. Now think about this for a second. If you mastered even half of these silent actions, how differently would people treat you? How much more respect would you command without saying a single word? That's the power of Stoicism. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's undeniable. And if you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who wants more than just surface-level advice. You want transformation. So take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, and join Unshaken Mind, because this is where you learn how to build a mindset that people can't ignore. Closing thoughts. Remember this: you don't need to beg for respect. You don't need to chase validation. You don't need to prove your worth to the world. All you need is alignment. Alignment with discipline, with self-respect, with inner control. Because when you master yourself, the world has no choice but to value you. So start today. Choose silence over noise. Choose discipline over comfort. Choose self-respect over approval. And watch how everything around you begins to change. If this video gave you clarity, make sure you like it so more people can see it. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And most importantly, subscribe to Unshaken Mind for more powerful content that will elevate your thinking and transform your life. Stay disciplined, stay focused, stay unshaken.